Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, this is Conquer001. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, as some of you might already have, or rather recall, I did mention sometime back that I was going to do a video walkthrough of Cardfight Vanguard or Byond. Now, what is Cardfight Vanguard or Byond? To put it simply, it is a free software where you can play virtual Cardfight Vanguard. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You can play Cardfight Vanguard without buying the actual card itself. So, without further ado, I will be bringing you through with the entire process on how to get you started, get you up and running, and of course with the help of my friend Observer, who is actually on the other side of the game itself. So, of course, he will be assisting me throughout the match, and I will try to bring you through the process as painless as possible. So if all this seems very complex to you, don't worry, it's not that bad, at least not at first. So, first up, you will need to go to this webpage, www.byond.com. You can actually go to Google and type in Cardfight Capital. That's where you're supposed to go to anyways. But the first thing that you need to get is actually the Byond software. So simply go to Byond right here and go and download Byond. Just simply download to the default directory and you should be all ready to go. Next is to go to the Cardfight Capital page itself. So you can take note of the address if you wish to, or just simply look for it via Google, as I mentioned before. Once you're here and once Byond has already installed on onto your computer, you will notice that there are several Play Now buttons right here. So let me just do a quick refresh. And there you go. So these are the existing servers that you can actually go in and play. Now, some of the servers are actually locked due to passwords and all that stuff, but most of them are pretty much free, and you'll be able to go inside and play with other people. So for today's testing purposes, we will be going into a server that I'm currently hosting. Of course, for more details on how to actually get your server up and running, we can. I would most probably do a recording of that in a separate video. So, but anyways, for now, let's click on Play Now. And it will actually ask you whether you would like to load this game onto Byond. So you can just launch it, no problem. And now I'm going in. Now, because I've already registered on Byond with an account, I also have my own username as well. But you can actually set up a username wherever you like within the game. But in Byond, it is considered as a separate account, and for that, the username sticks with you. But in a sense, it also comes with a very interesting interface where it can serve as a hub for all the free games that people have created on Byond for you to play, as well as a friends list, as you can see right now. And as you can tell, Chaos Observer is in my friends list. He is currently right now within my server as well. So let me just minimize that. So anyways, as you can see, I am the person in green, aka I'm Shin. So of course you can actually adjust your characters, or rather customize your characters whichever way you want. But to move your characters around, simply press the directional keys on your keyboard. It's up, down, left, right, and so forth. Of course, the performance and smoothness of the gameplay is dependent on the server as well as the number of people. So that is a dividing factor. Now, first up, let's start with the FAQs first, the question mark. So as you can tell on the top right corner of the interface of the room, that is, there's a little question mark over here. That is most likely the first place that you want to go to, but of course you can choose to skip this if you wish. But anyways, let's just click on that, and we have the deck edit help. Now with the deck edit help, it has several links: how to play Vanguard, controls, deck editor, and special terms. Now, how to play Vanguard is it's just pretty much an external link, as it says over there, to open up a window and teach you the rules on how to play Vanguard. Controls is what is one of the primary things that you really want to take note of. So let's just click on that, and there we go. These are the shortcuts as well as the mouse clicking methods that you would need to know in order to play the game in Byond. So we have several stuff here. Okay, I'm just going to go through with some of the primary ones that you must know. All the others can come a little later, or you can just read up on these information on your own free time. So first up, we have control click. This is to show the card's information, which is especially important if you really want to see what the card is. So just simply press down control and then click. These kind of descriptions, this kind of control description shouldn't be anything foreign to Windows users. For Mac users, it might seem a little different, but just a bit. Most of the controls isn't really that difficult. So just take a time, and then I'm sure you get to it. So these are the commands, as you can tell: shift click and drag and drop and all that stuff. Most of them are pretty much intuitive, so you shouldn't be too worried about that. But anyway, let's go back to our deck edit help, our help page. That is help file, and then you also see the deck editor. That is the third link in the help file itself. If you click on it, it explains to you what are the options available in the deck editor for you to build your own deck. There you go. So again, take your time to read through these. No rush. The descriptions are pretty much straightforward. Special terms: counter blast, soul charge, soul blast. These are the common terms in playing Vanguard for those of you who do not know. For those of you who already know, this is of course clear cut, so nothing much to speak of. Now, without further ado, let's just close this little window. We're back to the main page. My friend observer is staring very keenly onto the cat on the counter. But as you have probably guessed by now, the cat is not interactive, and this is mainly one of the three places that you can hang around to play with people. Right. So as you can tell, or rather as you can see, my friend is moving around, and I have my friend Zoider here who has come on. So let's say hi to him. To type a message, you can simply press Enter, which would make a will-say text box appear, or you can just simply cancel and go straight to typing it out. Now at the bottom left corner, beside the word will say, you can see that I've typed in some gibberish text, but let's literally type in some actual words now. Let's type hi Zoider, and apparently they are aware that I'm recording. See, yes, I am recording. Moi, ha 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 ha. Right. So next option that you want to look for is the second button. You can't really tell, but there's supposed to be a map icon. So when you click on it, it actually shows you the various places that you can actually go to, as you can tell. But for now, we're just going to stick with Card Capital over here. The third option, as you can see the image of Kai. This is your profile page. This is where you customize how your character looks, your name, or whatever additional options that you want. And you can even change your avatar according to the various anime characters within the Cardfight Vanguard anime series and manga series. There you go. So I could even change to, let's say, a Ninja Master M. Bam. I'm now Ninja Master M. But of course, the changes can only apply if you click on the Save button. So if I click on it, bam, I'm now Ninja Master M. Now the fourth option. Oh, come on, Observer. Anyways, so for the fourth option, that's the deck edit. You can see the backing of the Cardfight Vanguard icon in the fourth button. So when we click on it, an additional a pop-up window appears which says deck edit, which is makes a whole lot more sense. And you can see the various options: file, booster packs, which you can see the various different packs from the Cardfight Vanguard releases. This is for BT. The stars promos, very nice as well as the extra boosters. There we go. And but as you can see right now, it is all empty. And I'll set display is empty, new deck is empty, search result is empty. What are you going to do? How are you going to build a deck? It's quite simple, really. On the bottom left corner of this pop-up window, you see card name, card effect, clan, race, blah, 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 blah. Now, if you have any sense, this is actually a search portion, a search segment, if you will. So you can just simply search for the type of cards that you want to look for. To help to speed things up, you can just simply type in the name of the clan that you wish to look for. So let's say we're going to look for, let's try Kagero, all right? So once you type it in, you can just click on search. It will now search for every single Kagero card within the Byond software, within Cardfight Capital, and put them all in the search results section. But of course, this is way too much. So let's filter them out a little. Let's say I want to filter them out to the grades for grade 1. Search. There we go. So all of these cards are grade 1 cards for the Kagero clan. But let's say I want to even filter it even more. I'm going to type in the name, type in the word flame. Now this will search for any cards with the word flame in it, and there you can see Flame of Hope Ermo and Flame of Promises Ermo. Now I've shown you how to look for cards. Let's figure out how to build a deck. All right. So the Byond software is quite smart. It actually knows that you need to build 50 cards. So there's no way that you can put more or less cards into your deck. It only allows you to save 50 cards in a deck itself. And as as some of you might know, or at least the Vanguard players already know, you can only put up to 16 triggers, and you can also detect that as well. So, sorry guys, there's no way to cheat in Byond. Sorry, but so to demonstrate to you how to actually build a deck, let's go back to Kagero again. Let's start with grade zeros and search. Now these are all the grade zeros, as you already know. Now, how do I add a card in? Very simple. But first off, let's say one of the primary actions that you want to take note of, as I mentioned before, is to read and figure out the details of the card. And if you recall, it's actually control left click. So if I actually press control and then left click on, let's say, Doombringer Griffin, a pop-up window appears, and it would actually describe the details of the card itself. Its grade number, what kind of booster it is, what's the attack, the guard, etc., as well as its description right here. Of course, you can put it aside, and you can actually click another one, and it will just update it. So you don't have to worry about additional pop-up windows popping out all over the place. You can even leave it on at any corner as you wish. As for me, I like to leave it at the corner. It serves as an excellent a source of information at any given time. Let's close it. But of course, we want to put cards in. So how do you drag cards in? Simple. Double click on it. Oh, sorry. Drag and drop. There you go. Sorry, I confused myself there. You can just drag and drop, drag and drop, drag and drop, drag and drop. Oh wait, you can't put any more of the same card. You can also detect 4 cards of the same type as well. There you go. But you can add other cards. There we go. La 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 la. And there you have it. Oops, excuse me. Let's go back to the screen. There we go. Let's close that. So once you actually build a deck of 50 cards, right, you can then actually go and save it. And save a deck. But of course, as you can see, I've only got 14 cards in this deck, and it says that I have a problem trying to save it, and my deck is not exactly 50 cards. So it's okay. So to just speed things up, I'll just take a deck that I just recently built. There you go. It is an OTT Souls deck, as you can tell, and it is exactly 50 cards. You can tell by this little icon over here that my mouse cursor is circling. It says 50, right? This demonstrates how many cards there are. And these icons are very useful to tell you the ratio breakdown of your deck, like how many crits you have, heals, draws, stands, how many grade zeros, 1, 2s, and 3s. So it serves as a very summarized and very simple breakdown of the deck that you are trying to build. So Once it's at 50 cards, simply click on File and then Save Deck, and then save to whichever file name that you wish. As you can tell, I have a lot of decks, but let's save it in a new deck. So select new deck, click OK, and just simply type in any decks that you wish. I'm going to type in Conquer Double Ones, Sister Deck. There we go, Conquer Double One Sister Deck. Probably needs a better name, but oh well. Next time I'll call it Harem. So click OK, it will be saved under that deck itself. However, there's a problem. You haven't selected to use it. So to select the deck that you wish to use, there are a few methods to go about. In the deck edit window, you can just simply click on File, select Pick Deck to Use, and then choose the deck that you wish to use. So as you can tell, this is my entire list once again. I'm going to select this guy. There we go. And as you can tell, on the right side of the main window, it says I'm using whatever deck that I've already picked. So once that you are done with this particular screen itself, you can just simply close. There you go. Do note, in this particular state, you will not be able to perform any challenges to anyone, nor can anyone challenge you. However, you can still communicate with other people. If anyone else is trying to build a deck, or if anyone else is actually watching a match, or actually engage in a battle, they will have an icon appearing at the top of their avatars. So observer, do me a favor, go into your deck edit mode. Excellent. So as you can tell, my friend here, he has this little blue icon on the top left corner of his avatar. This shows that he's currently in a deck editing mode. So if you actually look to the top right corner of the icons again, you can see there's the sword that represents battle. There's the two whitish things. Those are actually eyes. So I have no idea who came out with those. Those looks really creepy, but that's supposed to allow you to watch any Vanguard battles that is currently ongoing. So I'm actually trying to click on it, but no one is popping up because there's no battles going on. All right. So, but anyways, so on to the next icon, which is the fifth icon. You can see that there's like four different colors: blue, pink, green, and red. This is to select your deck. See that? So as I mentioned, so if you recall, I mentioned that there are two ways to actually selecting the deck. The first is while you're editing your deck, and the other one is when you're picking, when you can actually pick a deck from the main window itself. Just give me a moment. Let me replenish my Let me indulge myself in some refreshments. Pepsi Twist. Tastes like crap, but it's better than nothing. So, all right. So, but of course, you are here not to hear me babble about how to build a deck and all that stuff. You want to see some action, so we will now proceed with that. Now, one thing that you need to note, you can't just stand like all the way in the corner and then try to combat people. So let's say I'm actually standing all the way in the corner of this room, and I click on the sword icon. It says I need to move closer to someone to challenge them. So in this case, you have to move physically closer to someone else and then do the challenge. So once you click on them, anyone within the vicinity, their names will appear. This applies to anyone who's engaged or not engaged. So if someone is engaged, select them. It will tell you no, that person's busy and all that stuff. But anyways, let's getting started. Let's select observer. And a prompt window will say private, so whether I would like to set this game to private. If I do set it to private, no one else can witness this game. But in this case, I'm going to click on no. I want to put it to public. Anyone can watch the game ongoing. So there you have it. As soon as my opponent accepts my invitation, the game starts to be immediately transported to this a green and red colored field with our characters' avatars laughing away in some maniacal frozen pose or something. So you can click on all. And one more thing, communication within the game is very important. So of course you can do it via Skype, which I'm currently using to actually communicate with my friends and all that stuff, blah blah blah. Or you can do it via typing. There you go. But sometimes people in the main room would start filling up the all tab over here, and it would be very hard to keep track. So excuse me. So you can actually click on the game only, and it will only share with you the text that is currently ongoing within this game. So you can see TES Zorder or Zord, whatever that is watching the game. He has actually selected to come and join us. So let me just type in, "Hi Zord, how's it going? Thank you for joining us in this recording." All right. Anyways, without further ado, we will start off with the first step. Now, again, if you do not understand what the hell I'm talking about regarding about Vanguard, please first figure out how to play the game first. All right, like maybe go to the card shop, get someone to teach you all that stuff. You want to learn it in Byond, so be it. It will be a bit more complex because you don't have the physical cards to see and all that stuff, and not to mention you're actually learning how to use Byond. So my personal recommendation, just go to a card shop, maybe some friend have them teach you how to play. It is not exactly that difficult. Or you can actually go to the Facebook page, Cardfight Vanguard, rather, Bushiroad has this official Cardfight Vanguard Facebook page where they have a flash game which can actually teach you how to play itself. I will share that link with you guys in a while later. So first and foremost, we need to put down a starter Vanguard. To look into your deck, right? You actually have to press and hold alternate key and then click on your deck itself. Once you click on that, this little window appears. It says viewing a list, and this list represents your deck, or rather whichever place that you actually clicked on. So now that you can see every single deck, or rather every single card within this deck itself, but it's rather random because it is all random. All right. Of course, any action that you do will all be represented on the right side of the chat window itself. So therefore, if you did something that's illegal or anything, your opponent will know. So no cheating around this part. So first up, let's get my my starting Vanguard up and running. Just look for it. My friend has already put down his starting Vanguard. I will put down mine. To put down a starting Vanguard, simply click and hold the card and drag it all the way to the V and let go. And it will say, I have placed the Vanguard down. And then I can close. Now it says, Conquer Double One, shuffle his deck. Of course, you can do additional shuffles. You are not restricted to how many times as you wish. To do a shuffle, press Control and then S. There you see, you can do as many times as you want, as my friend Observer has demonstrated. Now, as soon as you're satisfied with the number of shuffles, you are now supposed to pick your starting hand, your 5 cards. Now, by default, when the first time you actually click, just single left click on the deck itself, it will prompt you this little window. Draw opening hand. Do you wish to draw your opening hand of 5 cards? Just click yes. There you go. So this is my hand. Right. So whether it's good or bad, it's entirely up to me. But I decided to actually put some cards back in. This is the mulligan, as you guys all know. So how do I put back a card? Now, if you notice, my friend actually put a silent joker to his deck. Now, there's nothing wrong about it, but sometimes you just want to keep it secret on what you want to put it back in. In this case, he just simply drag and drop the card back into his deck, and the opponent knows what the card is. But I don't want to let my opponent what it is. So what do? Simply press and hold the shift key, click and drag the card to the deck itself. And then you can actually select either to the top or the bottom of the deck. So I'm going to put it at the top. As you can see, Conquer Double One moves a hidden card to his deck top, and then my friend Observer actually moves a hidden card to his deck bottom. By rules, shuffle again. There you go. Let me drink a bit more. And my friend actually draws some cards. So how do you draw a card? It's very simple. Just click. There you go. That's it. Really. So now we have to decide who to start with. Cardfight Vanguard doesn't really have much of a junk and bone or a rock paper scissors within the system. So what they decided with is by the rolling of die. To roll a die, simply press Control R. As you can see, it is random. I roll 5, Observer roll 4. That means I start first. Now we need to flip over our vanguards. What do? We double click on the card. Any card that you double click on, single cards that is, this does not apply for the decks, but any single cards on the field, when you double click on them, it flips them around. It actually, it flips them around. So for the Vanguard, simply double click on it, and I reveal my card. My friend is currently playing Spike Brothers, so I start first. First step, stand and draw. It's already stood, and I draw. Left click once, and the card goes into the hand. Now I'm going to write. How do I write a card? Simply drag and drop the card onto the space and let go. And the prompt will say, do you wish to write this card or add it to the Vanguard? So naturally, I want to write it, and click on write. Now you can hear this sound. They actually got these special effects from the anime show, so trying to spruce things up, which I personally think is a pretty nice touch. Now, my starter Vanguard has this special skill is that if it has been, if another card has rolled over itself, it moves to any rearguard circle. But I need to check the list. What do I do? Remember that we actually did alternate left click on the deck to search for a card. You can do so for the Vanguard circle. Simply alternate left click on it, and the list will appear. And then I just simply drag and drop it to any Vanguard space I wish. I'm going to put it there and then close the window. Now I intend to end my turn. You can actually type it in and end game, and turn, or whatever it is. But I decide, but that's shortcut. Simply press Control E, and automatically it says Conquer Double One ends his turn. And that signals to my opponent to start his turn. So let's see what Observer intends to do. He draws a card, writes Wonder Boy from his hand, looks into his soul, or in this case they call it stack, but the official term is soul, just so you know. And then intends to attack me with it. Now, as you can tell, he is attacking me. How does he do that? He actually flips the cards around. Notice that? Now, to simply flip the card over, you just need to double click. It's that simple. So if I just double click on my card, see that? You can stand and rest it as many times as you want. But of course, it should be only during your turn. This is just a demonstration. So my friend decides to attack me with 13k. I say no guard, and I type in NG. That's a shortcut for no guard. And he does a trigger check. Now I'm going to do a damage check. I will demonstrate to you what is how to do a trigger check. But anyways, he follows the trigger's effect, and I take a damage. To take a damage, press and hold Control, and then left click on the deck itself. A card will automatically appear on the damage zone, which is on the left side of your screen, or if you're the opponent, which is on the top half of the screen itself, it'll be on the right. So my friend has ended his turn, and I start my turn. So my unit's already standing, so that's fine. I can just simply draw a card. Left click, and I decide to ride. Let's see, who am I going to ride? I'm going to ride this guy, Death Army Knight, and I decide to call this guy here, and call this guy. Now I'm going to do something fanciful. For non-Vanguard players, you are going to be confused, but just follow along. Just to understand, I'm going to do some skills right now. So I'm going to rest these two and draw a card. That is bouncer skill. And then finally, I'll call again. There we go. So now I am going to attack. Now, how do you attack? How do you designate who do you intend to attack? It's quite simple. Simply left click and hold the card in which case who will be your attacker, and simply drag it to your opponent and let go. Now notice that the targeted opponent blinks red. This is to show that they are being targeted. At the same time, if you look on the left side, or rather on the right side where the chat is, it says Conquer Double Ones, Death Army Lady 9,000 power, attacks Observers Wonder Boy 8,000 power. This is to show that this serves as a log as to what's going on. So now my opponent, Observer, decides to put down a 5k guard to guard against this attack. Very good. And then I decide to attack again. Again, I double click on my booster and simply left click and drag it to my opponent. Now, in the case that the player is that your opponent is not aware, I would recommend that you can just type down the attack power of your attack itself. So in this case, it's actually 14k. I'm going to type 14k and then enter. My opponent would then say no guard, and then I do a trigger check. Now, trigger checks, how do you do that? Remember that damage check is a control left click, yes? While the trigger check will be of a different key. Instead, it's a shift left click. Note, shift left click. All right, so here we go, shift left click on the deck itself. And I got myself a Infinite Phantom Invader, Death Army Cosmologo. And I stand my unit. So that's one of the skills for my Death Army Lady. And I decide to attack again. I drag and drop it. And let's see what my opponent says. My opponent says no guard. He takes no damage. So I decide to end my turn. Control E. There we go. And it's my opponent's turn. He stands all of his cards and draws a card. And I'm going to have a sip of my Pepsi Twist. Carbonic acid down my throat. So what does my opponent intend to do? He decides to ride Fierce Leader Zachary. Whoop, High Speed Blackie. Anything else? And he decides to attack me. So he's going to type down 14 against my Vanguard. Do I wish to guard? I say no guard. There we go. And he does a trigger check. I do a damage check. Remember, control left click for damage check, shift left click for trigger check. Here we go. And I got a I got to draw a trigger, so I can assign 5k to anyone. Now there isn't really like an icon to put it, so you have to tell your opponent. So in this case, I say 5k to my left rear guard, and I draw a card. Left click on the deck to draw a card. My opponent is thinking he wants to attack. Who is he going to attack? Oh, he intends to attack my Vanguard again. It's 14k. Do I wish to guard? I say no guard, and I take a damage. There we go. And he ends his turn. Now my turn. Now, remember that you can actually double click and then stand your units and rest your units, vice versa. Of course, you can do this, get all your units to stand, but sometimes that's just way too tedious. So here's another shortcut. Simply press Control U, and all your units will stand. So once I stood my units, I draw a card, and I decide to ride Infinite Phantom Invader, Death Army Cosmologo. I love to do that. Okay, so and then I drag this unit over here. There we go. So I am going to do something mean. I'm going to activate Cosmo Lord's skill. Vanguard skill. Now, in case you can't remember the card skill itself, simply control left click on the card and it would show up again the card information. Remember, control left click is very important. You would want to know this is one of the primary shortcut keys that you really need to remember. If anything else fails, control left click. That's really important. Well, just don't control left click on your deck. You don't want to take damage. So, as you can tell, if I stand or rather rest 2 of my units, my Vanguard takes 5k. So I'm going to do not that. Alright, so I'm going to attack 15k on Vanguard. What does my opponent say? No guard. And I do a twin drive check. Simply press and hold shift and left click once and the second time. My opponent takes damage and I decide to attack again. 15k on Vanguard. He got to 10k. And attack once more. 16k on Vanguard. He got to a 10k guard, and I end my turn by control E. And my opponent says lol. And as you can see, unfortunately, my opponent has misgraded, which is quite a shame. No wonder he was guarding so fervently against my attacks. I'm sorry, observer. He moves Wonder Boy to his hand. And what is he trying to say? Misgrading and Byond as usual. And calls Wonder Boy to his hand, or to the field, and decides to attack me. He decides to attack my Death Army Lady. Curse him. I say no guard. Now, when a rear guard dies, you can just simply click and drag and hold the card to the drop field, and it goes to the drop zone. Next, my opponent decides to attack my Vanguard. 17k. Do I wish to guard? I say, you know what? This time I'm going to demonstrate to you how to guard. Right. Now, for Vanguard players that you know, Vanguard has 2 methods of defending. One is that you can actually use cards put into the guard zone from your hand, and the other one is intercept. So the standard way, of course, is that you drop cards from my hand, put it down here. So in this case, in this example, I'm going to do a perfect guard. This, and then I drop down Mr. Invincible. As usual, just simply left click and then drop it to the drop zone. Or you can even put it onto the guard zone wherever you wish. So now my opponent has to respond. He does a critical trigger, which I fortunately did not receive. And I put these back. He ends his turn, and now it's my turn. Control U, stand on my units, and I left click on it, and get a unit out. In this case, I'm going to call this girl. She has returned. So now I decide to attack once more. Double click, drag and drop, 15k. What does my opponent say? He guards with a 15, followed by 5k. Now, if you notice, he actually managed to do an intercept. To simply do an intercept, simply left click on your rear guard and just drag it to the guard zone, and it would just move itself there. So 2 pass, he says 2 pass. He has so kindly told me that it would take 2 triggers for my attack to go through, and I say, hell yeah. And now here I go. First check, nothing. Second check, I get a heal. Excellent. So I can just simply drag one of my cards from the damage zone, just left click and drag as well, to the drop zone, and I assign 5K to 5K to them. So now 16K on Vanguard. He got your 10K. 20K on Vanguard. He says no guard, takes the damage, and it's a grade 3. Oh shoot! And I say Control E. All right, we'll make this one last match so that we can actually conclude all the standard commands for this Byond Cardfight Capital Cardfight Vanguard game. But let me just ask my friend, Observer, do you wish to conclude this game or do you want to cut it short? Okay, my friend says cut it short. I can understand his pain. So, okay, he has been graded. So let's have our friend Observer do his last attack. He attacks my Vanguard with a 17K, and I say no guard, bring it. He gets Demonic Lord Dudley Emperor just when we're about to end it. And Control left click on my deck and I take a damage. And there you have it. This is Cardfight Capital. My friend ends his turn. So once you actually do note Cardfight Capital is unable to detect the state of the game itself. So it's pretty much all recorded down by both players. So once you're done with the game itself, you can just simply press and hold the alternate key followed by Q, and it would then prompt you, do you wish to leave the table? Because once you leave it, you will not be able to join it, as it's so clearly stated. So in this case, we want to leave the table, we say yes. Because you cannot start another game within the same session. If you wish to have to start a new session, you have to leave the table and then re-challenge or the opponent or be challenged instead. So click yes. And now I'm out. I can start moving around. There we go. So if you have any, thank you very much for actually viewing this particular video. I hope that it has been very educational. I hope you have learned much. If you have any questions regarding about Cardfight Capital, or even the Vanguard game itself, or any other questions regarding about anything related to Vanguard, or maybe something else on the side, just let me know. Leave a message leave a comment in the YouTube video, or maybe even check out my blog and leave a message, and I'll see what I can do to help. So once again, this is Conquer001, and big thanks to Observer for assisting us in this demonstration, and I'll see you next time.